Welcome to Under Baobab Skies. The first light of dawn stretches across the endless plains, soft gold spilling over acacia trees and distant hills. A faint morning mist hugs the low grasses, clinging to dew-soaked earth. In this quiet Enkai, a young Maasai herdsboy rises before the sun, his feet bare, his staff worn smooth from years of guiding the herd. The herd stirs behind him, shifting in anticipation, hooves pressing into the soil, breathing the new day into life. Each animal is a responsibility. Each step forward carries the weight of vigilance. Predators roam unseen, and the wind whispers warnings as it threads through the grass. Today, like every day, Enkai must balance care with survival. He hums softly, a low, steady tune that eases the herd's nerves and steadies his own heartbeat. The plains are vast and indifferent, yet alive with hidden life-birds rising from the grasses, the distant cry of a jackal, a hawk gliding against the pastel sky. Enkai moves among the animals with deliberate care, coaxing them into rhythm, each flick of the wrist, each gentle nudge measured and intentional. By mid-morning, the sun begins to climb, burning warmth into the plains and casting long shadows behind the animals. Enkai scans the horizon constantly. The slightest movement in the grass could mean danger. The herd follows his lead without question, a fragile trust born of repetition, patience, and necessity. Every calf, every cow, every step of the day is a dialogue between boy and land, between youth and responsibility. As the heat intensifies, Enkai leads the herd toward the watering hole, familiar paths etched into memory. The air shimmers, carrying the scent of dust, grass, and the distant acacia flowers. Along the way, he listens a rustle in the tall grass, a flutter in the trees, a whisper of wind-all signals to which he must respond with calm precision. The plains demand attention, endurance, and courage, even in the early hours. For Enkai, the rhythm of the land sets the tempo of his life, steady, deliberate, cautious, and aware. The sun beats down, relentless and white. The morning's soft light has hardened into a fierce glare, and the land shimmers with heat. For Enkai, this is the midday trial, a test of will against the elements. The cattle are restless, their breaths heavy in the stifling air. He keeps them moving, pushing onward toward the promise of water, his own thirst a dull ache in his throat. The watering hole is a sanctuary, an oasis in this sun-scorched expanse. But it is also a place of tension. Other herds converge here, and resources are shared with a silent understanding, a choreography of need and respect. Lions, too, are drawn to the water, their presence a silent threat lurking just beyond the edge of the clearing. Enkai remains vigilant, his eyes scanning the thickets, his hand never far from his staff. He knows that survival is not just about finding water. It's about navigating the unspoken rules of this shared space. He watches as the cattle drink, their relief palpable. He allows himself a small gourd of water, the cool liquid a fleeting comfort. His mind is a map of the land, marked with safe pastures, hidden dangers, and the ghosts of seasons past. He remembers the stories his father told him, tales of great droughts, of legendary warriors, and of lions that walked like spirits in the night. These stories are more than just memories. They are lessons in survival, passed down through generations. They teach him to read the land, to respect its power, and to find his place within its intricate web of life. As the cattle drink their fill, a quiet moment of peace settles over the group. The air is still, the only sounds the lapping of water and the low hum of insects. In this brief pause, Enkai is not just a herdsboy. He is a guardian, a link in a chain that stretches back through time. He is a part of the land, and the land is a part of him. With the herd refreshed, the journey continues. The sun begins its slow descent, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. The heat of the day gives way to a gentle evening breeze, and the land begins to cool. The cattle move with a renewed energy, their bells a soft, melodic chime in the twilight. Enkai leads them toward a new pasture, a place where the grass is fresh and the night will be safe. The dangers of the day are replaced by the threats of the night. Hyenas call in the distance, their eerie laughter echoing across the plains. Leopards, masters of stealth, may be watching from the branches of an acacia tree. Enkai's senses are on high alert. Every shadow a potential threat, every sound a warning. He builds a small fire, its flickering light a beacon of safety in the growing darkness. The flames dance and crackle, casting long, dancing shadows that seem to keep the darkness at bay. The cattle settle down for the night, their bodies close together for warmth and protection. Enkai sits by the fire, his staff across his lap, his gaze fixed on the darkness beyond the circle of light. He is alone, but not lonely. The stars above are his companions, the sounds of the night his lullaby. He is a sentinel, a protector, a young boy with the weight of his family's livelihood on his shoulders. He thinks of his home, of the warm embrace of his family, of the stories that will be told around the fire. These thoughts give him strength, reminding him of what he is protecting, of why he endures the hardships of this life. The fire crackles, a steady rhythm against the silence of the night. The moon rises, a silver sliver in the ink-black sky, its pale light illuminating the vast, sleeping plains. Under this immense sky, Enkai keeps watch, his small figure a testament to the resilience and courage of the Maasai people. His day is a cycle of vigilance, a journey of responsibility that begins with the dawn and ends under the watchful eyes of the stars. It is a life of hardship, but also of profound beauty and deep connection to the land. As the first hints of dawn reappear on the horizon, the cycle prepares to begin anew. The night has passed without incident, a small victory in this vast and unpredictable world. Enkai stirs the embers of the fire, the warmth a welcome comfort in the cool morning air. The cattle begin to stir, their gentle movements a signal that a new day is dawning. Enkai rises, stretching his tired limbs, his young face etched with a maturity beyond his years. He has kept his herd safe through another night, fulfilling his duty with a quiet determination. He is a child of the plains, his life intertwined with the rhythms of nature, his spirit forged in the crucible of this wild and beautiful land. The rising sun casts a golden glow over the landscape, illuminating a world teeming with life. Enkai picks up his staff, its familiar weight a comfort in his hand. He hums his soft, steady tune, and with a gentle nudge, he guides the herd forward into the light of a new day. His journey is far from over. It is a path he will walk for many years to come, a legacy of stewardship passed down from his ancestors. For Enkai, this is more than just a duty. It is his identity, his purpose, his life, and as he walks, he carries with him the hopes of his people and the enduring spirit of the Maasai. As the sun climbed higher, its heat began to press down, a heavy weight on Enkai's young shoulders. The earth beneath his bare feet was warm, the sun-baked soil giving way slightly with each step. The herd moved with a slow, deliberate rhythm, their hooves stirring up fine red dust that hung in the air like a haze. Enkai wove through the moving sea of hides and horns, his steps sure and practiced. He was the conductor of this slow-moving orchestra, his presence a constant guiding force. His eyes were always moving, scanning the herd, looking for any sign of trouble. A young calf, curious and bold, might wander too far from its mother's side. A nervous heifer could startle, sending a ripple of panic through the others. It was his job to anticipate these moments, to be a calming influence. He would place a gentle hand on a skittish flank, murmur a low, soothing sound, or use his long stick to nudge a straggler back into the fold. Keeping the herd together was more than just a task. It was a sacred duty. The plains were vast, a beautiful but unforgiving landscape. Every patch of tall grass, every dense thicket of acacia, could hide a potential danger. A venomous snake might be coiled in the shade, waiting. A predator, a lion or a lone hyena, could be watching from a distance, patient and opportunistic. The uneven ground itself was a hazard, with sudden dips and hidden holes that could snap a leg. Enkai had learned from a young age that vigilance wasn't just a skill, it was the key to survival. His senses were tuned to the subtle language of the savannah. Pausing for a moment, he leaned on his stick and wiped a sleeve across his brow, streaking the sweat and dust on his skin. He closed his eyes and just listened. The world around him was a symphony of sound. The low, guttural moans of the cattle were the bass notes, a constant, rhythmic hum. The wind whispered through the tall grasses, a soft, sibilant sigh. Far in the distance, the sharp, yipping bark of a jackal cut through the air. Each sound carried information. A sudden gust of wind brought not just relief from the heat, but a story. It carried the scent of distant rain, the shift in temperature that signaled a coming change. The subtle rustle in the grass that could be a harmless mongoose or something far more dangerous. This was the silent lesson the plains taught him every single day. Responsibility wasn't about grand gestures. It was about the constant, unwavering state of awareness. To be aware was to be alive. To miss a single sign could mean the loss of an animal, a failure in his duty to his family and his community. The weight of this responsibility was immense, but he carried it not as a burden, but as a part of who he was. It was in his blood, in the stories of his ancestors who had walked this same land, tending their herds under the same vast sky. The hours melted away, each one a testament to quiet endurance. The sun reached its zenith, bleaching the colors from the landscape and making the air shimmer with heat. Finally, they reached the shaded waterhole, a life-giving oasis fringed with fever trees and flat-topped acacias. The herd surged forward, their thirst driving them to the cool, murky water. Enkai didn't rest. He moved among them as they drank, his presence a familiar comfort. He ran his hands over the backs of the calves, his touch gentle but firm, checking for any signs of weakness, any cuts or injuries that might have been missed. He watched them drink, ensuring the smaller, weaker ones weren't pushed aside by the larger, stronger bulls. There was a profound beauty in this relentless rhythm, the way the sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating dancing patterns on the water's surface, the shimmer of a dragonfly's wings as it hovered over a reed, the way the light caught the glossy hides of the cattle, highlighting the powerful muscles beneath their skin. In these quiet moments, surrounded by the life he was charged to protect, Enkai felt a deep connection to the land. It was as if he could feel it breathe a slow, steady inhale and exhale of the earth itself. And in feeling that, he learned to breathe with it. He learned the deep, abiding patience of the mountains on the horizon, the quiet courage of a lone tree standing against the wind, the resilience of the grass that always grew back after the fire. As the afternoon wore on, the sky began to change. The endless blue was slowly being consumed by a gathering of dark, bruised-looking clouds that rolled in from the horizon. The distant hills, which had glowed under the midday sun, now grew dark and ominous. A storm was coming. Enkai felt the shift in the air, the drop in temperature, the electricity that seemed to hum just beneath the surface of everything. He knew he had to act quickly. He began to move the herd, his voice now sharper, more urgent. He guided them away from the open plain and towards a scattered grove of acacia trees. Their broad, thorny canopies offered some measure of shelter. He was especially careful with the calves and the older, weaker cattle, positioning them in the most protected spots, surrounded by the stronger members of the herd. The wind began to rise. No longer a gentle whisper, but a forceful gust that whipped dust and dry leaves into swirling eddies around the cattle's hooves. The air grew thick and heavy. The rain could be a blessing, replenishing the land, but it could also be a terror. The storms on the plains were sudden and violent, unleashing torrential downpours and frightening cracks of thunder. Or, just as likely, the clouds could pass over, a dark promise that never delivered, leaving behind only the dust and the wind. The plains were a teacher without mercy, and unpredictability was one of its harshest lessons. Flickers of lightning danced silently on the far-off horizon, illuminating the dark clouds from within. The sight brought the words of the elders to Enkai's mind, a voice as clear as if they were standing beside him. The herd moves with the boy who is calm, they had always said. The boy who listens, who watches. He took a deep breath, pushing down the knot of anxiety that tightened in his stomach. Panic was a fire that could spread through the herd in an instant. His own calm was their anchor. He moved through the restless animals, his hands steady, his authority quiet but absolute. He wasn't their master, he was their guardian. He spoke to them in low tones, the familiar sounds of his voice a reassurance against the growing storm. He checked their hooves, ensuring none were caught or injured in the uneven ground beneath the trees. He gently coaxed the calves closer to their mothers, a protective barrier against the wind. He aligned the stronger bulls to form a living wall, shielding the more vulnerable. The plains were testing him, throwing their wind and their threats at him. But he answered with a quiet, unyielding determination. Every flicker of lightning, every gust of wind, every nervous low from the herd was another lesson. Another moment where he learned the profound weight and the steady, ancient rhythm of his duty. This was his life, his purpose, written in the dust and the sky. The sun begins its slow descent, painting the vast African sky in strokes of fiery amber and soft violet. Evening is coming. The herd, a sprawling family of cattle, starts to gather. They move with a familiar rhythm, settling into a gentle circle beneath the protective branches of the acacia trees. This formation isn't random. It's a protective ring, a circle of life shaped by centuries of learned vigilance against the dangers of the night. On the edge of this living fortress stands Enkai. His small frame is a silhouette against the dying light. His spear, a steady extension of his arm. He moves carefully, his eyes scanning the horizon, watching for any sign of danger until the last sliver of the sun disappears behind the distant, rolling hills. As the light fades, the world transforms. Shadows lengthen, stretching like dark fingers across the savannah, merging into one another until the land is cloaked in twilight. The air grows cool, carrying the rich, earthy scents of crushed grass, dry dust, and the faint, comforting smell of distant fires from neighboring homesteads. It's a scent that speaks of community, of other families settling in for the night, sharing the same vast, open space under the same darkening sky. With the night now deep and the sky a canvas of deep purple, Enkai leans on his staff. He breathes in and breathes out, his rhythm matching the soft, collective breathing of the herd. In this quiet moment, he can feel the pulse of life that surrounds him, the gentle, rhythmic heartbeat of dozens of animals entrusted to his care. It's a profound connection, a silent conversation between boy and beast, The silence is suddenly broken by a distant roar, a chilling sound that echoes across the plains. A lion. The call of a nocturnal predator is a stark reminder that his responsibility doesn't end when the sun sets. The night holds its own set of challenges, its own dangers that lurk just beyond the circle of light from the moon and stars. But amidst this constant vigilance, there is a quiet, profound reward. The herd is safe, the cattle are calm, their soft sighs a testament to the security they feel under his watch. And in the process of protecting them, the boy himself has grown. He has learned the true measure of courage, not the loud, boastful kind, but the quiet, steady courage required to face the darkness alone. He has discovered the depths of his own endurance, pushing through fatigue and fear. And he has practiced the art of care, a gentle yet firm hand that guides and protects. Each day out here on the plains shapes him, builds him, and binds him ever tighter to this land, the only home he has ever known. With the first stars beginning to emerge, piercing the deep indigo of the night, Enkai allows himself a moment of reflection. He thinks back on the day, replaying the long journey in his mind. He pictures each dusty path walked, each river crossed. He remembers the individual quirks of each animal he guided, the stubborn cow that needed coaxing, the young calf that strayed too close to the thorny bush. He recalls each challenge faced, the midday heat that seemed to shimmer and warp the very air, the sudden appearance of a snake that sent a jolt of adrenaline. Through him, the constant search for fresh grass and clean water. He has survived another day, and he knows it wasn't due to luck. It was the result of unwavering attention, of a patience learned from watching the slow, deliberate pace of the natural world, and of the ancestral wisdom passed down to him by his father and the elders of his village. The life of a Maasai herdsboy is far from leisurely. There are no days off, no holidays. It is a life of constant work, of relentless responsibility, from sunrise to sunset and beyond. But it is also a life rich with something that many people search for their whole lives: a quiet, steady strength. This strength doesn't come from conquering others, but from a deep, unshakable connection to the land and its creatures. It's a strength born from understanding the language of the wind, the meaning of the clouds, and the rhythm of the seasons. It's a strength that comes from knowing your place in the great, intricate web of life. Now, the plains are almost silent. The night has fully claimed the world. The only sounds are the soft, contented breathing of the resting cattle and the gentle whisper of the wind as it moves through the leaves of the acacia trees. It's a lullaby for the savannah. Enkai's watch is not over, but for a moment he can rest. He finds a smooth rock to sit on, his staff held firmly in his hand, his eyes still scanning the darkness. He knows that when the sun rises again tomorrow, it will demand the same from him, the same endurance to walk for miles, the same vigilance to protect his herd, and the same calm, unyielding courage to face whatever the day may bring. This is his life, his purpose, his legacy. This is what it means to live under the baobab skies. The journey of a Maasai herdsboy is one of incredible resilience and deep tradition. We've only shown you a small glimpse into Enkai's world. To see the full story of his daily struggles, his triumphs, and the incredible skills he uses to survive, we invite you to watch our full documentary. Discover the intense training, the dangers he faces, and the profound wisdom of his culture. Click the link to watch the full film, Why You Wouldn't Last a Day as a Maasai Herdsboy, on our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.